Hello, I am Commissioner Emma I. Darnell, Fulton County District 6. Welcome to Mighty Six Conversations. As you know, Conversations is a monthly information and communication program focusing on the sustainable community, economically strong, environmentally safe, with liberty and justice for all. Today's topic is the District 6 Task Force on Children and Youth. What's going on? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the children, the youth, the young adults, and their families in this district. Thank you for joining us. I'll be back in a moment. Joining me in the conversation today is Dr. John M. Thompson, who is the Director of the Fulton County Department of Aging and Youth, and a special guest, Annette Wilson, who is the Chief Executive Officer for United Youth of America, Incorporated. United Youth of America is a nonprofit organization which was established to serve the needs of underprivileged youth ages 5 to 24. By offering GED programs, tutoring classes, and after-school programs. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you so much,
Dr. Thompson, and a special welcome to Ms. Wilson.
Thank you
We're so
very
happy
much.
to have you here, and we do so much appreciate the work of United Youth of America
Thank you
and
very much.
organizations like yours who are partnering
Yes.
with us
Yes,
to get the job done.
and I love it.
We've talked about children long enough, haven't we,
ma'am.
Dr. Thompson?
Yes, ma'am. We
It's
have.
time that we do something about
Absolutely.
it. Would you tell us about that Cradle to Career
Yes, ma'am.
program, Dr. Thompson, because it is your department and the strategic plan
Yes,
that you
ma'am.
developed for your
Yes, ma'am.
department
Yes, ma'am.
that we will be using to help
Absolutely.
35 communities
Yes, ma'am.
deal with the problems and concerns they have
Yes, ma'am.
about their children. Tell us about that process a little bit.
So Cradle to Career is, in essence, is a framework, it's a model. And so to be able to be successful in this model, we must work with not just government. We have to be able to break down the silos. And in government, we have silos within government. And so being able to work with multiple agencies, being able to work with our nonprofit organizations such as Ms. Wilson's organization, working with for-profit organizations. So whoever wants to come to the table and really care about the interests of children and youth, we want them to come to the table. So in this framework, it focuses on 5 major goals. One is to get children ready for kindergarten. And so looking at our 3 and 4-year-olds.
At the early age.
Very early age, yes, ma'am.
That's
So
what you mean by cradle.
very much, yes, ma'am.
Very early.
Focusing at the cradle, right? So getting them into pre-K programs so they'll be ready for
Yes.
kindergarten.
Yes.
The next step is to make sure that our children and our youth have programming in and outside of school, especially outside of school after the hours of school when mom and dad are not home. And those children and youth are vulnerable at that period of time. And so we understand that human trafficking is a huge issue in Fulton County and Atlanta, Georgia. So what are we doing to make sure that our children are safe, that our youth are safe as well? And so after that, we also want to focus on the third step is to make sure that our youth are graduating from high school or getting a GED, as Ms. Wilson's organization is doing. Beyond that, the fourth step is to focus on post-secondary education or getting some type of trade. And then the fifth goal for us is to make sure that they're getting into a job opportunity so that they can become self-sufficient and being able to be productive in their communities. We're looking at tax-paying citizens. That's what we want to focus on.
Well, that is very interesting that you include this whole area about jobs, because whenever you talk to the community, when you talk to people who are parents and grandparents, I get so many questions from seniors.
Yes,
Emma,
ma'am.
what are y'all going to do about these children?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, we recall a time when it really was a village. The entire community
Yes, ma'am.
was concerned. It looks like that's kind of happening now. I hear that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Miss Wilson? Because you're dealing with the folks directly every day. It seems to be a heightened concern
Very much, very much.
about children and youth.
Right. And the concern that I pretty much see in the community with the young people ages, 17, 18, 19, they can't
Yeah.
find a job.
That's
whole
real critical
issue.
to them.
They said, Miss Wilson, we've been looking for a job. We can't find no job. They said we got to have some work experience. I never worked before. So what do I do? So in my program, what we have is a Serve Safe certification program. We partner with Levy Restaurant, who has a contract with Georgia Dome.
Does that mean they're going to hire
Yes. they're
after
gonna
you
hi-
train?
Yes, a total of 1,500 jobs going to be available. Right now, she said about 200 jobs definitely will be in the food service industry. So I'm so excited to have the opportunity to train these young people who never had any work-related experience working.
They all want to work.
They all want to work. They all want to work. And what I like about this opportunity, if they want to go into culinary arts, they can be a chef 1, a chef 2, a 3, a cook 1, a cook 2, a 3. It's just not you just getting ready to get a job, but you're getting ready to go into a career in culinary arts. So this is a perfect opportunity for our young people.
Well,
And it's a paid apprenticeship program.
yes.
So I really, really like that.
Well, that is so important. I noticed that one of the objectives that you mentioned in that Cradle to Career model was one of your goals was that young adults,
Yes, ma'am.
and I guess at 17, 18, they're really young adults now.
Right,
We-
right.
We used to call them youth, but they're young adults now.
Yes, ma'am.
I noticed that you talk about young adults becoming self-sufficient
Yes, ma'am.
and positive
Yes, ma'am.
contributors
Yes,
to their
ma'am.
society.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what they want too.
Right,
don't they?
right. They
That's
Ms.
what they
Wilson,
want.
I need to get my hair done.
I need to get my nails
I
done.
need to get my nails done.
And sometimes they want to help mama with the
Right,
rent.
a lot of them. A lot of them.
A lot of them want to help mama
wanna-
with the rent.
wanna help
They
their
see
mom.
mama working 2 and 3 jobs.
Right, right. A lot of them.
Yes.
I love it because with this opportunity, I get the chance to mold them in a positive way, And
What does that mean?
we teach them life skills.
And
we
what
teach
does
them
that mean?
Life skills, how to get a job, how you behave when you're working, how you keep a job. Don't get to the point where you get so comfortable you start taking a 45-minute lunch break when your lunch break only 30 minutes. So those are some things we teach
They
them.
probably haven't heard that.
Work ethics.
Work ethics.
Yeah.
That's so important.
Nobody's really told them.
No, ma'am.
Many of them, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
And that's so important. That's so important because you want to teach them how to behave once they get on a job site. What language to use.
Yes.
How to be respectful.
How to dress.
How to dress. Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Hygiene.
My observation has been that if you have people who are working with young folks, and if they really are concerned and care, they'll listen to you.
Yes, ma'am.
They'll listen to you and they'll do exactly what you tell them to do.
And they love it.
They love it.
they
They
love-
like having a job.
They just love, I think they love the environment of the dome. They
They
get a
do.
chance to see the fans and the friend. They be like, oh, I love it, Ms.
Yeah.
Wilson.
Yes.
And I love to see them so excited about doing that.
Yes, well, that is so important because, unfortunately, folks who don't work with young people, they assume a lot. But
Yes.
those of us who work directly with them, we know it's probably, you need to kind of examine those stereotypes,
Yes.
don't we?
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, and we're going to talk about this word of self-sufficiency.
Yes, ma'am.
We want them to be self-sufficient.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And we might need to interpret what that really means.
right. Yes, ma'am.
We'll be back in a moment for part 2 of our conversation. However, first, let's listen to what citizens said at the first meeting of the Task Force on Children and Youth, which was recently held.
I'm very concerned about where our youth, not only where they are right now, but where they're headed, because I feel as though that's the primary impact of where our future is.
It's just a great opportunity to be a part of this venture, to make a difference in the lives of our youth.
I'm ready for the next step now, where we all come together in a think tank environment and we create a different world for our children.
Dr. Thompson, this term self-sufficiency, how are we interpreting that term within the context of our focus on children and youth and young adults?
Yes, ma'am. So self-sufficiency is a term that we're using in Fulton County government. And so in
Yes.
essence, a person who's self-sufficient is a person who has the necessary resources to be able to purchase the goods and services. I know it gets into capitalism, but we're staying away from that. But the bottom line is being able to be gainfully employed and having the job opportunity so that they can purchase those goods and services rather than becoming dependent on government to provide them services. And when we're talking about healthcare services, or we're talking about supplemental nutrition assistance program and providing them with other types of wraparound services. So we want them to become independent as possible. Not saying that Fulton County government does not want to help anybody. No, that's not the point. It's really focusing on how to teach somebody how to fish versus just giving them that fish.
What about Social Security? Is that related to the self-sufficiency definition when you say we want people to be less dependent on public services? Would that include Social Security?
Well, so when I look at Social Security, that's something that everybody pays into.
It's their money.
Right, it's their money.
We're not talking about relying on corporate assistance. We're talking about relying on your money.
Yes, ma'am.
We
It's
wanna
their
make
money.
that real clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes folks get a little confused on that
Yes, indeed.
self-sufficiency.
Yes, ma'am.
But we're talking about, it's another word I like for that self-sufficiency, and that's self-respect.
Oh, yes.
Everybody, these youth and young adults who are being challenged so hard now, it's rough time to be 17 and 18
Yes, indeed.
and 19 years old. It's a rough time. I think they need to understand clearly what we mean by self-sufficiency.
Yes, ma'am.
We're talking about how they want to feel. They want to feel that they are independent.
Of course.
That they can take care of their basic needs.
Yes,
But sometimes, that word, unfortunately, is not used the way you all use public assistance. It's used as some sort of badge of dishonor.
Yes.
But all the young people we work with, this is what they want. They want to be independent. They want to have their basic
Yes, ma'am.
needs met. Is that right?
That
is
Do
right.
you all find that to be the case?
Yes, they want all their basic needs met, and they really just want to pretty much take care of themselves.
They
some
want to
their
take care of
needs,
themselves.
their
don't they?
needs.
That's what self-sufficiency
Yes,
means.
ma'am.
Yeah, they want to take care of
Yes,
themselves. So
they do.
I love it when I can see them get to that point.
Yes.
Get to the point that they
Their
self-sufficient.
whole demeanor changes.
Yeah, they get so excited, like, oh,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson, I'm working here now. I'm taking care of the things that I need to take care of. I'm helping my mom,
Yes.
and they feel proud about that, And
In other words, they feel the way we feel.
yeah,
I often tell people when they use words like underprivileged and poor and disadvantaged, so tell us about those people. What do they want? I said, what you want?
Right.
you know what they say, Miss
They
Wilson,
want to be able to take care of their families.
Yes.
They want self-respect, and they want their mothers to be respected.
Yes, that's what they want.
They're concerned, aren't they, about
Yes, they
their brothers and sisters. It's amazing.
Yes.
They're concerned about their siblings. And so the county, we established, the Board of Commissioners established this area because we recognize that the government, which is about people,
Right.
it's their money.
Right.
Every light that's burning in this room right now is paid for by taxpayers. None of this is paid by anybody else. So people have every right to expect the government to help them
Right, of course.
meet their basic needs. We don't apologize for that. I think you went throughout the community to ask people to set up these priorities, didn't you, Dr.
Absolutely.
Thompson?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
And that's what we're doing with this task force on children and youth.
Yes.
35 organizations around the Old National area
Yes.
and a little bit beyond. They've come together and said, we want to deal with law enforcement when it comes to juvenile delinquency and truancy,
Mm-hmm.
but we want you to do something for these kids, beginning with early childhood.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to talk about that a little bit, Dr. Thompson. What are some of the kinds of initiatives that the departments of Fulton County have come together? Because that's what task force said,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson. It says you all have 15 programs in 15 different departments. Dr. Thompson called them silos, but everybody's doing their own thing. That's the new term I'm trying to pick up here, new term. But everybody's doing their own thing. You pull them together, though, haven't
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
Dr.
Yes,
Thompson,
ma'am.
to focus on this area?
Absolutely, absolutely.
beautiful.
And so when
Tell
we-
us about that.
Absolutely. So when we're looking
That
at
interdepartmental.
Yes, ma'am. And so the focus for the 3 and 4-year-old is really working. So it's going beyond Fulton County government. It's working with Fulton County schools. It's working with Atlanta public schools, and really focus on how do we get more parents interested in sending their kids to the programs, to the pre-K program for their 3 and 4-year-old. And so the bottom line with that first initiative on Cradle to Career is making sure that child is ready for kindergarten. And so we see how kids will fall behind. I have little ones at home, and so I can only imagine if my daughter was not in a pre-K program, she wouldn't have been ready for kindergarten. And so,
So we partner with folks.
absolutely.
Yes.
What about the program they're doing in parks and recreation? What about the program for teens and youth?
Yes,
What about the programs that they're doing in arts? What
Yes,
about the
ma'am.
programs that they're doing?
Right.
Police department is working now on reviving their police athletic program. How are we bringing these departments
And
together?
so Parks and Recreation, a big one for them, and what we'll see
Yes.
very soon is after school enrichment programs.
Yes.
Especially when we see our Parks and Recreation facilities across the street from a school.
They're across the street from school.
Across the
aren't
street
they?
from the school, and so that's open space as a chance for those children or the youth to come over there safely and to be able to work in an environment, whether it's working on a computer, whether it's athletic type programs, but really want to
It's a little
focus
bit
on.
more than Kool-Aid and cookies.
Oh,
now.
absolutely. It's really reinforcing the knowledge that they gain in the classroom for that particular day. That's what
Yes.
we're focusing on and working with organizations such as Jumpstart to make that happen.
Ms. Wilson, you all do that GED training too, don't you?
Yes,
I
we do.
noticed that you do that.
And I partner with Atlanta Board of Education with that program. Dr. Price partnered with me on the GED program. So because I noticed that a lot of the young people, you know, when they want a job, I say, okay, do you have your high school diploma? Do you have your GED? Oh, Miss Wilson, no. I say, let's work on that too. Let's work on that because we need
Yes.
that as well. So
Unfortunately, they have had mixed experiences in the schools many times.
Yes.
You know, and the thing about the programs that nonprofits like United Youth America have, they have folks like Ms. Wilson who can focus on that child who may not have the confidence
mhm.
that children may have from other who have had parents who've encouraged them more.
Yes.
Whatever the reason, I think that partnering, and I see you all partner too. You're
Yes,
partnering with the school.
Yes.
We have a GED program in the library, and what we're trying to do here, Ms. Wilson, in addition to partnering with nonprofits, we're saying to Fulton County departments, instead of you having a program over here in parks and after school, and the arts people have a, which they do, excellent program for youth, you know, with music and theater and so on. Why don't we integrate? You use that word, Dr. Thompson, integrated
Yes, ma'am.
service
Yes,
delivery
ma'am.
models.
Absolutely.
You know, why don't we integrate this? You know, and we're going to have to kind of reduce our fees too, I believe.
Got to
Yeah.
increase the access to those programs.
We might have to reduce our fees. So many children are not able to pay the fees that are needed in order to participate in some of our programs. But I don't want to digress on that.
Yes, ma'am.
But we have at least 7 departments here in Fulton County that work hard with children and youth. And they're coming together in response to these 35 communities that recently met.
That's
And we're
beautiful.
saying we're going to develop a program, you know, targeting these youth, using all the county's resources, but without United Youth of America, without the private sector.
Yes,
You know, for jobs, we have to have somebody. You name some that you all have identified. We have to have people who are willing
Right,
to
right.
more than talk about trying to help us. We got to help people who are willing to step up and say, if you do the readiness, we will hire.
Yes, and I love that. That's what I love about it. And I love even when our partnership with the Teen Dads program for Fulton County, I partnered with
Yes,
them.
that's one of our most successful programs.
Right, and yes, and that was a beautiful partnership, to see the young men, change their lives and get them a job opportunity. That's really, really a
Well, Miss Wilson, we
uplifting
just thank you
experience.
all so very much. They're giving me all kind of signals over here. They're going to come up here and snatch the paper out of my hand in a minute. And we're going to have to close it out. We're going to have to close it out. But as you can see, I'm not ready to close it out.
Yes, indeed.
I want to thank you so much, Dr. Thompson,
Thank
and
you,
I want to
Commissioner
thank you for
Darnell.
Thank
coming,
you.
Miss Wilson. And we just appreciate so much that you all are doing to help us. We believe in action.
Yes.
And we believe in results.
Yes.
We don't believe in just operating programs to be operating programs.
Yes, indeed.
But without partners like you all, without the private sector, we can't do it. Is that
No,
right,
ma'am,
Dr. Thompson?
We cannot.
Right.
Thank you all again so much. And
Thank
we
you.
look forward to continuing to work with you all, not only on this project, but on all of our projects.
Okay, thank
Thank
you
you so
very
very
much.
much. We'll be back in a moment with my closing comments. In the 1970s, during another period of struggle and responsibility, Marvin Gaye said, "Too many mothers crying, too many brothers dying." He did not say all mothers were crying. He didn't say all children were dying. Most of the children were not dying then, and most of them are not dying now. However, 35 communities recently came together with a clear message to all who will listen today. Too many. That's the message. Too many mothers crying. Too many children dying. What do you say? That's all the time we have for today's conversation. Until next time, stay strong. To learn more about today's conversation, contact me at 404-612-8222. That's 404-612-8222. You can also email me at emma.darnell@fultoncountyga.gov. Visit us online at emmadarnell.com or connect with us on Facebook or Twitter.